It's me. It's me. It's me. It's me. It's Casey here at the Wow Words of Wisdom, the Naked Truth, and I have with me here Talor Hawkins. And Talor Hawkins is going to give us some. She's going to drop some golden nuggets for us because with everything that we're going through, we have to take care of ourselves, right? So, Taylor, go ahead and tell our audience and our viewers exactly what it is that you do and who you are.
Yes, I was like, I'm a woman of many hats. I like to be. A lot of people tell me. I'm like, what
Perfectly
you talking
fine.
about? I'm just doing me.
That's
um,
perfectly fine.
yeah. So I'm a ACSW, which is a associate social, well, clinical social worker in California. But also my business is life
Mhm.
coaching, and I have a course out right now. So I really just focus on the question of self care. Like, are you taking care of yourself? Do you know you? That's my major
Mhm.
question. And a lot of people are like, do you know you? Like, well, what do you mean, do you know you? And so it's always like that just throwing your face, like, what are you talking about? And then they think about it, like, do I know myself? Dang, that's a good
Right.
question.
I mean, honestly, that question right there. It does throw people off because people you automatically assume that you know yourself, but do you really know yourself?
Yeah.
So when you ask that question, what is it that you're seeking from everyone?
So when I ask you, do you know you? It's really just a broad, like, do you know what you like? Do you know what you don't like? Do you know, for me, because I'm mental health, right? I think of like
Right.
triggers. I think of, do you know what kind of, irritates, do you know what irritates you? Do you know what, what's your heart's desire? Who do you want to be? Who
Hmm.
are you at this moment in time? For me, I've always kind of been that person I've always been a helper. So like, I knew I wanted to help, but how did I want to help? And I didn't get into that until, of course, I'm older. With time, you're going to mature, you're going to grow. But it really is just asking yourself those questions of, who are you? Where do you want
Right.
to go? What do you like? What don't you like? And a lot of people can't even ask, hey, what do I like? Or answer, what do I like? What don't I like? So it's one of those questions that's just very broad.
It catches you off guard. The question that I use is, what's your favorite color? Because usually something like that small you would know off the top, purple or pink or green. And a lot of times when people sit back and be like, what is my favorite color? And then they try to associate it with their zodiac sign and all of these things. And I'm like, you don't know your favorite color. A
Yeah.
lot of times people don't even know their favorite foods.
Right.
So that's the part of getting to know yourself that we kind of don't
Right.
so what do you advise people, or how do you advise people to get to know them? I know you don't want to give it all away, but kind of give us a little bit more of how we can actually get to know ourselves better.
Well, it takes awareness. So in my course, I do talk about 5 pillars, which is the do you know you, awareness. I say fuck that because it's really about, forgetting what other people think and really
Mhm.
focusing on what you want and trusting yourself and then broadening your horizons. So being
Right.
okay, and really the first thing I would really say is ask yourself the questions, what do you like, what don't you like, and then just figuring out and playing around with different things. Like for me, I love food. I've always liked food. I'm willing to try anything and everything. I won't
Mhm.
do snails. I will not do oysters. I will not do stuff like that. But I know that because I've
Right.
taken the time to either try it. I haven't tried it, but I've
Right.
seen it, and I'm just like, I can't.
Those are just deal breakers. You're not going to
Like,
have it
deal
at all, no
breaker,
matter what,
non-negotiable.
which
But
is
I
nothing
played
wrong
around
with
with
that.
food. Yeah, I played around with food. I played around with different tastes. Me and my family will cook together. So I'm learning about my palate. And a lot of people don't take that time to learn about their palate. Or, it's about struggling and just
Mhm.
trying to put food on the table. And so a
Exactly.
lot of people don't have that time, and then they're getting, adjusted to unhealthy food. And I
Right.
can easily tell the difference between a healthy cooked meal and an unhealthy cooked meal. McDonald's, oh my gosh, it tastes synthetic. It tastes so
Right.
synthetic. But if you go and you're used to a different palate, you'll understand the difference when you actually try. So there's things like that. Sports. I'm not a sports person. I used to play volleyball. That's what I've liked. I don't even watch volleyball like that. It's really just trying out new things and really not being afraid to try different things. I think a lot of us, it's the fear factor. You know,
Right.
there are some things that I will not get out of my comfortable zone for. Like, I'm not jumping out of a plane. I refuse. I like
You're
the
not the
ground
only
too
one. I'm not doing that either. But
I like I like the floor too much. You know, there's certain things that I definitely am like, those are my non-negotiables, but I'm not afraid to at least try. And I think it comes
right.
down to at least trying.
Right. So basically, it's like process of elimination. You
Hmm.
don't know if you like it, and you can't say that you like it or don't like it unless you definitely try it. And that again goes with food. It goes with experience in life. Like, I think a lot of times people have fears, and
Yeah.
the fears is connected to the unknown. So if they don't know what's on the other side of a doorway, they may not go and step across that to
Right.
get to see what's on the other side. And I think that kind of affiliates with life itself as well. A lot of times, and it's generational. So if you're in let's say, in an environment, and you know this environment, you're used to this environment, um, a lot of people don't leave that environment because the fear of not knowing what is in other environments. And we
Right.
have a lot of people that are stuck in that mindset because they don't know what else is out there. So, trying is definitely a big part of it, getting over your fear of what you don't know and obtaining the knowledge of knowing by doing,
Right.
right? So when people come to your program, and those are the things that you kind of indicate for them to try, and do you like help create a list of things for each individual to try, or how do you identify? Because some people's like, I don't need to try it, I already know, just like you just stated about the snails. Like, I'm not getting in a plane, I'm not doing that. Those already I knows can be affiliated with them not trying. So how do you get them past those roadblocks?
Right, right. So that would actually be the individual coaching, and would go more into, fears. But at the same time, I can't push somebody if they don't
Right.
want to. I always say you can have your non-negotiables, but if you're more willing to try different things than not try, that's where it's like you're okay. But if you're willing not to try things versus to try things more so, then that's where it becomes a problem. You have to kind of balance it all to create like a healthy environment for yourself. But at the same time, people they're going to do what they're going to do, and I can only help them for so long. So, or get them to a certain point, and that goes into mindset,
Right.
and awareness of yourself. If you know that your mindset is not all the way there and it's stopping you from doing some different things, then that's something to work on, and just getting uncomfortable or comfortable with uncomfortability.
Being uncomfortable, right.
Yeah.
Oh, and that right there, honestly, is that's the point. That right there is being comfortable with the uncomfortable, being willing to take opportunities when they come to you, because everybody's hit with opportunities. But
Right.
one thing I like to say about all of that, I love I love positive thinking. A lot of times we hold ourselves back from even knowing what it is that we want with stinking thinking. And that stinking thinking can come from, our past growing up as children. You can hear constantly how you're not worthy or you're not enough, or even one little incident that took place that captures you to the point where you don't want to do something. Like speaking in public or talking or what have you. One thing that have been told to you and you probably don't even realize it is the reason why you don't do stuff,
Right.
so getting over those boundaries of holding you back, perfect. Then you allow yourself the opportunity to see things in a different way. I could tell you honestly, this here talking for me was a big no, no. I always kept quiet in the classroom. I didn't want to answer any questions. One thing that took place with me as a child, where I started my schooling in North Carolina,
Mm.
and they speak differently. Everybody have an accent. And so when I went to school, returned to school in New York, they spoke differently. And there was one word that was utilized, and that one word put fear in me that I did not want to speak ever, ever. And that word was the and the. And it was the same word,
It was just
depending on who you speak with. It's just how they said it in those different areas. And because of that, I went to New York and I was saying it in the manner that I learned it in North Carolina, which is the, but they use the word the. And actually, now it's funny, but as a child, it was traumatizing because the teacher would correct me in front of the classroom, and then the whole class would correct me. So it was like they was getting tired of me saying the wrong word. They was like, "Oh my God, it's the get it
That's
right."
so
So
funny.
right from that experience, I had a fear of speaking and or saying words incorrectly. So I always try to make sure that I pronounce a word correctly. And to this day, it's still like it haunts me. But I got over that. As you can see, I've even got a whole platform here where I actually
Right.
speak. So
Self,
it works. You
yeah,
have to get over your
self-care.
fears, you
Yeah.
know.
And I
So
think
huh?
that's my twist on it too, because I feel like self care has been really romanticized and it's always about the bubble. Now that's fun. That's the fun stuff. But self care is also about the hard stuff, because once you're able to get through the hard stuff, like you said, the small something as small as the and the, you know,
Mm-hmm.
for me, like my dad is actually like he's spoke in front of he was a pastor back in the day. He spoke in front of so like tons and hundreds of thousands of people. And for me, I'm just I guess I'm natural. I don't know. I'm like whatever. Like I might be shaking in my boots, you know, but I'm very like calm and cool and collected. So people are just like I get that feedback of you're so naturally just good at it. And I was looking at him like, did you not see my hands shaking? But you just have to go and do it. You have to just be comfortable with being uncomfortable. And I always say, like, for meditation, this is something that I've recently learned. I've dealt with anxiety
Mm-hmm.
for a while. And anxiety is an uncomfortable feeling, but
Right.
what I've been able to do and I've been learning how to do is when it comes up is being
Mm-hmm.
okay with that feeling being there
Right.
and getting comfortable with that being uncomfortable in that moment. And that literally has just it's helped so much as far as like having panic attacks and stuff.
Right.
And so like even small things like that, you know, well, not small things, but things of that nature. It's just it's the fun stuff. Self-care is the fun stuff, but it
Right.
really is about learning how to sustain, how to empower. It's a lifelong process, and it's a fulfilling process, because once you learn how to navigate yourself, nothing and no one can tell you who or what you are. So that's kind of why I've created self-care. I mean, it's like, well, she just took the whole thing, because I was nervous about, you know, the self-care, and it's like, well, she's taking the self-care, like what's different about it? But it's my twist on it is that self-care is so much more than what people think. It is the fun stuff. It is getting the nails done, but getting
Right.
the nails done isn't helping you with your backstory,
Mental.
yeah, your thinking, or your backstory of you know, abuse, or you know, just your awareness. It's not helping with that. It's just
Right.
making you feel good in the present for a little bit, which is fine. But if you still have that monkey on your shoulder, what is it really doing?
Mhm. Right, right. And as you just stated, I don't know if anybody caught on, but you identified that self in your self care is an acronym. So go ahead and repeat that, identifying what you stated self in
Yeah.
your self care consists of. Caught it.
Sustainability, yes. Sustainability, empowering lifetime fulfillment care. And it was funny because when I was like, self, like, how can I make this an acronym? And I was like, oh, okay, just like was searching words and trying to figure it out. And then one day it just came to me and I was like, oh, that's kind of nice.
It actually is. It is. And to bring all of that, you know, that's the part that I like. I like when we actually provide the steps and understanding of how to take care of ourselves internally so that whatever we do, you know, in the external fashion, like you stated, get our nails done, our hair done, brows, lashes, haircuts, because it's not only women, it's also men, that
Yes.
we also need to like take care of our insides as well and our mental. And with that, it's a lot of work. We've been speaking on mental health here on this platform a lot of times, and the reason being is that this is one topic. It's a taboo in Black households, in the households of a lot of people of colors homes. And you can't stop talking about it. To me, if you talk about it to the point where it's a normal conversation, it is more accepted.
Mhm.
So with that being said, you did state that you are a social worker.
Yes.
Okay. So let's go ahead and kind of cover some things of how you came about wanting to be a social worker and how that is helping you with what it is that you're doing. Because mental illness and mental health is totally two different things. And that's where a lot of people kind of go off. You're trying
Right.
to help with mental health,
Right.
and we're not diagnosing mental illnesses.
Right.
We're not sitting here speaking ill will or identifying that everybody household have mental
Mental
illness.
illness.
It's
Yeah.
the mental health. We take care of our bodies physically. We can take care of our
Right.
mental health the
That,
same way.
that's literally what I tell people all the time. So going back to when I was a kid, so I always say that this is my story of how I got to just helping. Well, I guess just how I got to here. Um,
Right.
so as a kid, I always say that my dad was here, but he wasn't there. He
Right.
was working. He was, emotionally unavailable. A lot of the things, and a lot of the ways I went in regards to my relationships. So that's how I kind of tap into, women, like, have, or just men and women, have you experienced or felt, that, or just dealt with a relationship where you've been cheated on, emotionally unavailable, things of that nature, when
Excuse
people
me.
telling you like this isn't healthy. And I came to find out my dad's story, which is full of trauma,
Mm,
and just it's ridiculous. Crazy, like trauma, trauma, trauma. And but that the effects of that trauma affected him and his parenting.
mm-hmm,
So a lot of people don't recognize, as a kid, when you are when you've experienced trauma, and people are like,
mm-hmm,
oh my gosh, trauma can be the slightest thing in a kid's mind. It could
mm-hmm.
be,
That's some water.
falling off the what do you call it, like the swing set. And
Mm-hmm,
I don't even remember, when I was younger, I was doing, it was like a jump rope for heart back in LA. And so I remember I was doing it and I passed out. And
mm,
my whole face was just bleeding. I lost a tooth, and that was a little
mm.
traumatic for me. But that's
Right.
something that, it doesn't have to be something that was hard, or, like this big thing that, just like rape and it's nothing to that degree. But it's the child's mind is such a delicate, and just you have to be careful.
Yeah.
It's not, something to play with as far as
Mm-hmm.
development of a child. And so going back to my story, I recognize how much my dad's absence has affected me. And so I was looking for love in all the wrong places. So I was going to men who were cheating on me, men who were emotionally abusive. I I was close to being in a physically abusive relationship.
Mm,
I had to get out of a situation where if I didn't, I would have been raped. But luckily my parents, I was always doing these, like, what do you call it? Like self-defense classes.
right.
And so I was able to get out of that situation. Thank God. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I was putting myself in these predicaments that were not healthy for me. And the intergenerational trauma was just different for me and looked different for me. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's kind of how I started off, as far as, like, my journey. Like, why am
Right.
I choosing these guys? And then I was being told, why are you choosing these partners? Like, what's going on? And I used to hate that question. I used
Like,
to
why, what do you think? What do you
yeah,
mean? Why
like,
do I
what do
choose
you
these?
mean?
Like, I'm choosing to be abused. Yeah, those are the hard ones.
And that's where I throw people off with these questions, because that's what I was asking myself, and how it correlated to my story, and how it correlates to my story. So, um, I was always fascinated with like surgery, and then throughout a kid, and then like forensic psychology, and then I got into psychology. My mom's a marriage and family therapist, so I've always kind of had that background, and I was just really good at like listening to people. People always come to me. I don't Everybody will tell me their story first before I tell my story. So that's kind of how my friendships have been. And so I was just always very like open and honest, and just that friend that people went to. So then I liked psychology. I liked forensic. I like learning about schizophrenia, which is a mental illness. Bipolar disorder, which is a mental illness. And so I liked that part, the forensic kind of part of it. And my mom was telling me stories of how she was at a mental hospital and some of the, patients that she had. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. But then I was like,
Right. You want to go another route.
And I like Charles Manson. I like, what is that
stories, but you didn't want to be a part of those stories.
Yeah, I didn't want to be working with them. First,
right.
I wanted to do like FBI and be a part of the behavioral unit at one time. I wanted to do everything. And then I ended up, when I was in my undergrad, one of my roommates, she was like, hey, like, you should try the USC School of Social Work program. And I was like, what? I'm not getting into USC. And I had kind of messed up in my undergrad. So I was like, I'm definitely not getting into USC.
And that's where you graduated from.
Yep. Yeah. And my mom was like, yeah, you should go. And she was telling me she would have went towards the social work route rather than the MFT route. But it was perfect for her and what she wanted to do, which is art therapy. So yeah, that's kind of how I ended up in social work.
But honestly, I think everybody's experience in life helps guide them towards their purpose. That's why nobody really knows what their purpose is unless it's being forced upon you. And even when it's forced upon you, you don't know if that's the route that you want to take because you don't know the journey that you're going to walk to get there. So that's a beautiful way of looking at it. Now, you said something that a lot of people actually go through, which is bad relationships. And bad relationships can take away from that self-care, in which a lot of people may not realize that self-care is not only of you taking care of yourself, but it's also you being around those that help motivate you to be in the best you that you can be and not breaking you down. Because, no matter what people say, people do care what other people think about them. And it might not be at the same level because some people care what other people think at such a higher level that they don't know how to be an individual. They can only go according to what people are telling them to do and what they feel the masses really want them. But then you have those that are at a level that I believe it doesn't matter, but it matters. So if, let's say, as you stated, you was in school and or identified that you didn't think that you would be a fit for this program. So what if somebody would have said, yeah, you're not definitely getting into that program. That really, after what I see, no, you're not getting in there. That really would have caused your self-esteem to go lower, especially if it's someone that you depend on or somebody that you trust to the point where their words matter to you. And if their words to you are negative, of course you're not going to be, not everybody. I'm not going to say everybody in that mindset, but a lot of times when people say, no, you shouldn't do that because that's not for you, or you shouldn't, that right there takes away from your self-care. You have to be strong mentally to sit back and say, you know what? I don't care what he, she, her, what anybody says about me. I'm going to do it.
But it usually starts, a lot of that stuff usually starts with childhood. There's something.
Exactly.
And so a lot of like, the reason why I have the lotus actually is because it's so, it's more like, it's a lily actually. So it's more like a lily, but so the water lily actually, when it's forming, it's coming out of the dirt. So it's coming out of the dirt. And, it's muggy, it's ugly, it's not the prettiest, probably a lot of bacteria, And so when it forms, it's a beautiful flower. And when it comes out from under all the garbage, it's a beautiful flower. And it's helping the frogs, it's helping the insects, it's giving back. So once we are full in who we are and understand who we are, and our best selves, or tapped into our true selves, we're able to give to other people. If you're worried, this is why with social work, so it's really about helping the people in general,
Mhm.
rather than MFT, where it's individual one-on-one therapy. Social workers can do that, but also social workers were more for the community rather than
Mhm.
MFT, or MFTs. And so with social work, I'm able to go to the communities and help in different ways. And you're giving back to the communities that have not been able to, who are focused on, just the smallest things, which should be, anybody needs shelter, everybody needs food, everybody needs water. But in
Right.
today's world, there's so many issues because so many people don't have those things. So how are
Right.
we be able to give if you're worried about, oh shoot, I have to make sure that my rent's due, oh shoot, I have
Right.
to make sure that my kids are able to eat? That mother or that father or that family, they're in survival mode, they can't give anything. So then we're wondering why people are angry, are turn into psychos.
Right.
That's
They're,
the
they're,
worst.
right. Their emotional mindset is basically all over the place because they can't handle
Right,
what the self-care part when they're in survival mode. And some people have been in survival mode since they have been
life.
independent, since they have been adults. So therefore, that survival mode has never been turned off. So they don't know what else is out there outside of that survival mode, which is the part where I guess we come in at, because I too have, been to school for psychology and nearing the end of my master's with mental health counseling. Thank you. And that right there is the hard part. And I think that that's one of the reasons why we don't speak on mental health within the Black community, because we have been in survival mode for
For a very
generations.
Mhm.
Because the number one thing is caring for your family.
Right.
Everything else has to be put to the back burner. Everything else, including self. So knowing your favorite food, knowing your favorite color, knowing what things you like and what things you don't like, it's hard to obtain those when you're always in survival mode in your mind. Like you stated, with anxiety,
Yeah.
your mind is always worried about what's to come,
Mhm.
because that's pretty much what anxiety is. Anxiety, for those who don't know what anxiety is, it's worrying about what's to come. Depression is worried about what has happened.
Mhm.
That's the past. So you're depressed about what took place already, such as a bad breakup.
Feel.
Yeah, so, and you can actually experience both at the same time, which is a terrible cocktail, but it actually happens.
Yep.
You know, so the anxiety level within the Black community is very, very high. And now with this COVID, people are without jobs. We have people can't be around their families. Hugging is really good for the mental health, and now we can't even do it. You know,
Physio-
so
Physiologically, that word.
right.
It's good. It's serotonin and all the hormones. It's good for you.
Exactly. Exactly. But we can't even get to that part because of everything around us,
Yeah.
which is even harder for us to even deal with the mental health. So, do you have anything that you want to kind of give to tell people, like, yeah, I know you might be struggling mentally with survival mode and not worried about where your next meal is coming from, where your bills is going to get paid, when you're going to be able to see your mom, your grandmother, your father, any of these people. What do you think that they can use now for self-care to kind of help guide them into a rational mindset, to kind of get over the anxiety a little bit, to a point where they can actually keep working until they can kind of let go of the anxiety?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. So there's so many. So going into the do you know you have to
Hmm.
tap into different things for yourself. You have to try different things. One thing that I do is being on a set schedule is really helpful for me. And it goes back to mindset. There's this thing that, mental health, I know you're going to know this, but CBT, we call it cognitive behavioral therapy, which focuses on thoughts affect your feelings, which affect your
Mhm.
behaviors, which really, when it comes down to anxiety or depression, if you're thinking negatively in any type of way, then your emotions are going to affect your body, and your body is going to react, whether that be heart palpitations, whether that be behaviorally, you're cutting yourself, or I mean, these are some of the extremes, but
Right.
sometimes it's just isolation, sometimes it's just not eating enough. And so really just sticking with your thoughts and paying attention to what are your thoughts. If you have a thought tracker, so like I have a few things. There's a book, actually I have it right here. There's a book that I use, and this is by Alexandra Eel. I don't know if you guys have ever read her stuff, but she's really good. It's Today I Affirm, a journal that nurtures self-care. This was $5. I can't think of the name of the store, but it's a store out here that's not the dollar store, but you guys can definitely look her up. It's Alexandra Eel. And she has some really good affirmations work. I have these cards. These are affirmators. These are more for adults, spiritual as fuck. I love these. These are so funny, and they're really real.
Awesome.
Um, and just mindfulness cards, so you can look up like mindfulness cards or anything like that.
Mhm.
And that kind of starts with your mental. And I would get out. A lot of people are like, "Oh no, I don't want to get out because of COVID." Go get out.
Go for a
Not
walk.
in the
You
house.
don't have to be around people. Go for a walk. I mean, even
Yeah.
if it's a walk in your neighborhood, get that fresh air. I
Yeah.
agree with going out because it does make a difference. You can still breathe the air outside, even if you have the mask on, if you feel more comfortable with the mask on, go for those walks.
Yeah.
Um, I would even, because everybody's kind of worried about their finances and so forth. I you would try to say find something that's free in your neighborhood or any programs that are out there that can kind of help out with anything to help with that
Right.
depression and anxiety. I myself have been thinking of games to do on Zoom. There's Zoom games that you
Yeah.
can do with your friends and family, even have a wine and dine with the girls. If you have a Zoom meeting and get some glasses of wine, everybody get their own kind of wine and have those conversations that you usually have when you're kind of together. Now,
Yeah.
guys, they can do the same thing. You can do the same thing on Zoom. That
Hmm.
kind of will help with the mental, to kind of keep everything closed down. Now, when you said something about cards, I'm gonna tell you, I too have cards, and I love my cards because when I have multiple decks of cards. Okay, so this one here it's from the site collection, The Art of Me, guys. When I tell you this here is wonderful because you could just shuffle the cards and just pick one, and then this one right here is what it is.
Yes, I love that.
I am enough, and you take that thought with you all day.
Yeah.
Another set of cards, I know you probably heard of this one, but Don Miguel Ruiz, The Four Agreements. The
Oh,
book is
that book.
awesome.
Love
The
that book.
book is awesome, but the cards it's even better because you don't have to. Yes, girl, they got the cards. The cards. And these as well as affirmation cards. We always keep a deck of cards in the house. So everybody likes to play spades. Everybody likes to do all of those other things. But you can play those games. That is an external
Yeah.
feel good. It's only temporarily. When you buy cards, buy some affirmation cards as well because honestly, they do work.
Or you
I myself, I love watching television.
see, no, that's what gets me caught up.
Now, see, there's the thing. You have to know, one, have a limit.
Yes.
Two, be mindful. There's that word again. That key word today
What you're
is
putting.
mindful of what you watch. So I kind of like to watch a lot of games or competition types
Okay.
of things where you can hear people's stories of how they beat the odds, and then they go and do this extravagant, what is it? It's like, I want to say obstacles. They go through these obstacles, and I'm like, oh my God, he got like one leg and he's able to do that. That is that to me makes me feel like it motivates me because I can't sit back and feel sorry for myself if I can see someone who have less than I do. And
Yeah.
it's not that I seek out being somebody less than what I have, but if you see somebody doing having less but doing more, that
Yeah.
should motivate you to do better for yourself. And if
Yeah.
you don't know what do better is, you always have the opportunity to come to the wow, the naked truth, to look at all of our affirmations that we put up there and see what do better can be. You
Yeah.
always will get something, some form of affirmation to let you know that you are great in whatever it is that you're doing.
And
You
that's
know,
true.
you guys probably have not seen me on there as often because classes has started back and it's like overwhelming for me. But Taylor has really been helping me out with that, and a lot of the other members on the page have been putting a lot of great information out there. So we are here to help each other. Might as well take advantage of it. you
Yeah.
know. So with that being said, tell us how everybody can get. Guys, let me tell you, Taylor has been ready to do this platform because she is so eager. Uh, for a young adult, I really admire the fact that she is going the extra mile to actually speak her truth and also help others identify their truth in their journey of happiness. Ever since I've met this young lady, she has been nothing but happy through everything. She has been happy with I have not had one conversation with her where she's not giggly and not bubbly and she's not, but she is about her business. With that being said, I told her that I didn't want to I didn't want to come on this show without my shirts because I support. And this here, not only is it nice and comfortable, but it's worth it. It's self-care. And in the back of it, it says, do you know you? And in the process of it, every time when I see the back of it, I sit back and ask myself those questions that we just spoke on. What's my favorite color? What's, my favorite food? What's the thing that I like the most? When you identify who and what you like about yourself, guess what? You can identify what it is that you like about other people.
Oh, yeah.
That right there is
And then
mic drop.
that gives you an opportunity to see who do you really want in your life and who don't you want in your life. And that's a whole nother separate conversation.
We'll be coming back with a lot more conversations in regarding that. But go ahead and tell the viewers how you can get this.
So this is a sweatshirt, and you guys can go to my Instagram. It's at selfcare_dyky. I always get that one messed up. I have to spell out. Do you know you?
Basically, acronym for Do You Know You? DYKY.
Yes, you know you. I have this sweatshirt. I have the t-shirt, which is dirty right now, but it's okay. And then I have these leggings. And honestly, these leggings, every single time I go walking or go exercising, I'm like, I want my my leggings. I want my leggings. So this is like the salmon, but it has self-care on it. And it's really they're so comfortable. They're really comfortable. And they're super cute too. A lot of people have been like, "Oh my god, I want your leggings. Go ahead, go get them."
Right, exactly. But so what we're gonna do is gonna make sure that all that information is put onto the page for everybody to support, because we're here to support each other, guys. So, and when we get off of here today, Taylor's going to definitely put all the information to help identify where you can find her, because we are still willing to do our mentorship on the page. So anybody who is seeking any form of just some mentorship, we're not sitting here identifying you having a mental illness. We're not sitting here identifying any of that. But if you want to speak to someone, if you want that motivation, that affirmation that we're providing here today on a one-on-one, we got that for you as well, because that's what we are here for, right, Taylor?
Yes, and whenever you need to pause, breathe, or reset, this has been like my go-to too, because this phone case I have another phone case, the OtterBox, but this has really, like, when I'm upset or I'm feeling some type of way and because I'm always on my phone, I'll turn around and I'm like, dang, I always gotta make time for myself. All right, thank you.
Right, right. But and that's a perfect way of doing it. That's
Yeah,
a perfect way of doing it.
yeah.
So with that being said, we're gonna go ahead and cut this today. But if, like I said, if you guys want any more information in regards to all the information that was provided to you, please do not hesitate. And we thank you all for joining us. And please come back and visit us again next Sunday, as we will be speaking on it's hard for me because, guys, everybody who knows me and my sister, we are going to do a dedication to my sister for breast cancer awareness. This is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and my sister passed away in 2016 from breast cancer. So not only honoring her, but honoring all those who have survived, all those who are dealing with this at this moment in time. We see you, we're here for you, we're praying for you, and all those that we have lost. So next weekend is going to be a very special show. So I look forward to seeing you guys, and I thank you for joining us here today with Do You Know Yourself and our very, very special guest, Taylor. I thank you so much for joining us today, Taylor, and continue doing great, being great.
Thank you guys. I hope you have a good one. And you guys can reach me. Like I said, I'll put everything on what I have going on, such as my coaching and my course, and then the stuff with the collection. So I hope to see you guys soon.
All right. Bye.
Bye.